Welcome to the Florida Real Estate and Entrepreneur Podcast, where we interview the best and the brightest business and real estate leaders. Our mission is to inspire and help 1,000 entrepreneurs to start and succeed in real estate and entrepreneurship. We will give you the exact playbook to succeed in your business through the experience of those who blaze the path. We're bringing the what's working today directly to you. Let's get started. Welcome back to the Florida Real Estate and Entrepreneur Show. My guest today is Brett McCollum. Did I pronounce it right?
You got it, man.
Dude, this is this game I play. Every guest, I don't ever ask before. I just go with it, and then we validate whether or not I'm competent at reading. And so far, I'm 3 for 3, last 3 guests.
Boom.
Awesome, man. Well, welcome to the show, brother.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So for you guys, Brett is got a really cool background. The financial crisis blindsided him. He had to create new income quickly. I think we've heard the stories like this before. Drove him into real estate. His aunt bought a course. He dove in and he just learned the power of real estate. And that led him to doing hundreds of deals. And I think he's a testament to what's possible in the real estate industry. And he also is helping other people do deals today, which I think is really cool. And we'll definitely talk about that. Brett, man, I'm excited to dive in today, brother.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. Like I said, coming to you live from my car. Woohoo! I was telling you offline there, Adam, I kind of got booted out of my office. I had some cleaners here, this, that, and the other. And so we're kind of making this all work today, man.
Yeah, I think it's a testament to your dedication to showing up, being where you're supposed to be and doing what you're supposed to do. You're like, it's on my calendar. We're not missing. There's no reschedule. We just get stuff done around here.
Yeah, we're doing it, man. No other way.
Tell me a little more in depth about your journey. So obviously, you see the financial crisis, you get interested, you start diving in, you do deals. Tell me that whole story. How did that come to be?
I started in about 2016 is when I really got into real estate. But beforehand, my wife's aunt, so by proxy, my aunt, had been flipping houses for years. She's out of St. Pete, Treasure Island area, been flipping houses forever and ever down there, right? And I'm up in Gainesville. Long story short, she's been telling me all this time, do real estate, real estate, real estate. And we would every once in a while throw in, and I didn't know what it was, but I'd throw in a little bit of money at some of her deals. And I was like, oh, I'm a private money. Now I know it's like private money lending, right? I didn't know what I was doing, but I would get these little bits of returns here and there. It's like, oh, I made $150 on my $5,000, And long story short, I was working for a large Fortune 100 company, and I got fired. Showed up to work and here's a box with all your stuff in it. Not fun at all. It was wow. It was a blow, man. I'm not gonna lie, and it hurt.
Were you making a bunch of money?
So I'm working the Fortune 100 company. They let me go. I'm married. I have a wife. I have a roughly 2.5-year-old and a newborn. At this point, I don't know what to do because I don't know how I'm going to take care of my family. I don't know what's going to go on. You know what I mean? I'm like, what happens next? I'm freaking out. I didn't have a large savings. Back's against the wall. And in the back of my head, I'm like, this whole real estate thing, like, all right, call the aunt, And so she's like, you need to do this and the other. And then she starts throwing out all these things that I had no idea what they mean. Do a 1031 exchanges and this, that, and the other. She's like throwing out all this high level stuff that I'd never even heard of back when. And but that leads me to like searching and Googling and all this other stuff. And I got retargeted on a Facebook ad, a well-known guru. I don't know if I'll just say his name because I really owe a lot to Sean Terry.
Say it.
Yeah. So it was Sean Terry. I have a Facebook and it was Flip to Freedom, his whole, and I'm listening to his 10-minute webinar and I'm like, he's talking to me. Oh my God, this is it. And it was all about wholesaling real estate. I'm not making this up. I'm not making this. This is on I'm telling you the absolute God's honest truth. Hand to God. This is like exactly how it happened. That was on a Thursday night. Okay. Friday morning, I had picked up another job at this point. Sorry. I knew somebody and they hired me on real fast to go meet with different people and different help business to business relationship stuff. And I was in Jacksonville, Florida a couple times a week. I was in Gainesville a couple times a week. I was in Ocala, Florida. I was just driving around doing this thing and I knew I was going to be in Jacksonville. So I called this guy on a for sale by owner on Zillow that I saw in Jacksonville. That was on a Thursday night. This is on a Friday morning. Okay. The very next morning. And I said, hey, his name is Bill. I said, hey, Bill, this is Brett. We don't know each other. I saw your for sale by owner. Are you still thinking about selling the house? He goes, well, it's listed, isn't it? And I was like, yes, sir. He goes, well, and it's for sale, isn't it? I'm like, oh, man, they didn't teach me what to do in this. So I'm just trying to, like, what do I do now? It's like, you wouldn't be, able to meet with me out at the house, in a little while, would you? And he goes, yeah, absolutely. So I took my lunch break that day in Jacksonville, meeting with this guy at his house. And he had it listed at, I want to say it was like $157,000. I said, man, I know this is crazy. You wouldn't take 130 for it, would you? I just watched a 10-minute webinar and just pretended like I knew what I was doing, and he said, yes. And then I freaked out because I don't know how to write a contract. I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I don't have any kind of paper. I don't know what. He said, yes. And I said, oh, Bill, you're never going to believe me. Oh my God, I forgot my paperwork. Oh my God, I feel so stupid. I'm so sorry. I know it's Friday. Can you meet me? Can I meet you Monday morning? And he goes, heck yeah, man, I'm excited. Let's do this. So I had the little bit of time to turn it back around, and I started making phone calls, jumping in some Facebook groups. There's a lot fewer of them than there are today. Somebody local in Jacksonville said, I'll help you. And he comes out and helps me. We get the contract together, and he helps me do the disposition or selling, right? And we sold it in 8 days for 140, got it 130, sold it for 140. It was a 10K spread. We split it 50-50, and I made $5,000 in 8 days. And I went, for a person that's backs against the wall, I'm not making hardly any real money at this point because I just took a job to take a job. And that $5,000, like, this is going to supplement my income for the next couple of months. And now I can breathe for a second, not worry about how am I going to feed my baby? How am I going to feed my 2-year-old? How am I going to, you know what I mean? And that was the introductory of it. And then I was like, holy crap, let me try that again. Turn around and do it again in Ocala this next time. And I'm 2 for 2, back-to-back phone calls, back-to-back deals. And I thought I was the best person.
So easy. So easy, isn't it?
I'm so good at this. And then I found out how hard it was actually later on. But yeah, that's how I got started.
That's crazy, man. First off, there's a couple things there that are awesome. Like, you see a guru, a guy in the space or gal in the space doing it, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. First part of this is like belief. Like, oh, I see a thing. Some other guy can do it. Let me go try. And then you do it and you're like, okay, now I see the potential and I have the belief. And then you're like, okay, I'm off to the races. So how did it go after that? So that was a few years ago. What have you done on the wholesaling side since then?
I did 4 deals, and it took me about 7 months to do those 4 deals, right? Because I got my first one out of the way. And then I just figured out I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, holy crap, I don't know what I'm doing. But after the 3rd deal, it made I had a little bit of money in a cushion. And I started listening more and more podcasts, right? More and more. That's why I love doing these, because like I know what it did for me. And I said, okay, I need to hire this coach that we both know. We're both in family with him. I'll just shout him out too, because I love him. He's presently my mentor, Tom Kroll. Love the man. And Tom at the time was running Wholesaling Inc. And I joined that mentorship, and literally turning it around in the next 3 months, I did 9 deals. And that's really what got me to the next level. So I started doing a lot of deals, got the right mentorship in place, got the right processes in place, and I'm not a natural born like business owner, like leader, all this stuff. I never had those aspirations, So like I said, I hired the person and then started just trying to implement what they were teaching word for word. I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm going to guess that they do know what they're doing. You know what I mean? And so I took that, ran with it until about 2019. I said, I'm going to really scale this thing out. And this is where I made some goofs. I was already doing real well. I was making great money doing this. And I thought I should just put the pedal down and do more. So I made some mistakes and almost lost everything.
Let's talk about this a little bit. So what's really cool in this industry, because we wholesale too, we still wholesale today. And what's really cool in this industry, especially early on, when you're going after those first deals and you're basically spending no money to get them, it's mostly money in the bank. It's like you have the best margins. And then you go to scale. And what happens to your margins then? What were you doing for marketing in the start? Like, how did you find the deals?
So back in the beginning, it was strictly, and I'm telling you, granular focus, direct mail. That's all. Didn't try to do anything else. It was only direct mail. It started off like I could only afford 100 pieces, of mail, a week. That was all I could do. That's all I could afford. It took a little longer to get those, but then I added more and grew it. And so we were doing, by the time we were done, we're doing, 5,000 pieces, this and the other. We're doing like I'm in a smaller market. So that was a lot of mail for my small area, I said, I want to expand it out to go like Gainesville, Ocala. I don't know. This is a Florida podcast, so maybe people know where these markets are. Gainesville, Ocala, Lake City, start going into like, I might go east a little bit. I might even touch into, a little bit into like St. Augustine, Palaca. Like I'm going to get this region covered. So I said, I'm going to get a partner. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get a partner, the guy that knows all the people, that has all those connections that I need to get to those places. Thinking like, hey, that's a smart move. Let's get somebody involved that can help me get there. And hindsight being what it is, that was a mistake. Instead of just trying to kind of organically put those into place, those margins that you're talking about quickly went like they went down hardly, because my attention was split. I wasn't doing the things that I did every day. The discipline wasn't there anymore because I was doing all these other things, trying to grow this thing over here instead of doing the thing that actually works. Chalk it up to like, but I'm scaling and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And you think you're doing all the right things, but really you took your eye off the thing that was actually producing the result. And like natural order things, it just went down, it just went to zero. There was another big infraction that happened.
Did you try flipping? What was it?
3 days before Christmas, December 22nd, 2019, I woke up where our family's going on a trip to the mountains right after Christmas and so going into that, I trying to move money over from the business to our personal account, to get ready for that. And I woke up and checked that account and there was nothing in the account. It was drained to zero.
God, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
That was impossible.
Okay.
That was like a punch in the gut. So I'm blowing this man up, calling. No answer. And he finally picks up because I think he's like, I said, what did you do? And he's like, I'm so sorry. It was an emergency, this, that, and the other. And honest to God, it really was a real emergency. Like it wasn't that it wasn't real for him. It was, but then it was just gone. And so what am I, I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? Eventually over time, he did put it back. He did with some interest, but that next couple of months when there was no money in the account, what do you do when there's no money left? And then I didn't have the heart to tell my wife right before, Christmas, like, hey, we have no money, like it's gone, so I got through Christmas and then I broke the news. But man, that was a moment where, wow, like what in the world,
Yeah, that's tough, man. But you know what? That's like, I feel like, and you pay for mentorship, you paid for Tom and probably Sean and whoever else to show you the ropes. And I guarantee you, Tom Kroll was in this room today. He'd say, don't get a partner, Brett. You don't need a partner. Just hire somebody.
And guess who didn't call Tom before I made that decision? Me. These are the mistakes, man. And you think you would learn after that. I'm like, oh, I probably learned from that, right? Heck no, I didn't. Because I'm maybe a slow learner sometimes. I
got to learn it twice.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, oh, that's really dumb. But yeah, never that's he's really, them. He says it all the time. Never partner when you can hire. And I just thought I knew what I was doing.
Honestly, it's a pretty common thing that people who've been around the game for a long time say is like, are you sure you need a partner? Maybe you should consider just hiring that position, because 9 times out of 10, the partnerships don't actually, because 1 + 1 should equal 11, not 2. If I'm in a partner, it's because 1 + 1 = 11. It's like,
right.
We're going to go to the moon with these skill sets or this capital or this like something so additive that it is like insane outsized advantaged. So, but we all do it. We got to learn on our own sometimes. I think we're none of us are immune from it. So, that's a insane thing to happen. Obviously, my guess is you buckled down and started doing deals again as soon as Christmas was over.
That's the great thing about wholesale real estate. You remember that first story? It was 8 days, man. That's all it took was 8 days to get, money in I don't know a faster way to make money quickly. Even today, I still don't know like a faster way to make money quickly. So it was that's what I did. I buckled down, did deals, got through the difficult thing, and then worked through it.
How's your real estate side look today?
Today, man, that's the thing is like I remember I said you think I would learn the lesson, right? So I went out of my way again this time, and I hired GCs, and I hired people, project managers, and I hired people that I won't name any names, but they're known. I decided I'm going to get into the flipping game as well as my wholesale, and I'm going to hire and delegate it so that I can just keep doing what I do. That was my thought pattern until I paid them and they took the money and ran, and I'm left holding the bag for 20 flips basically at the same time.
Oh man.
I don't flip houses. I don't project manage. I don't do all that stuff. I know how to wholesale and get deals and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So then I'm leveraged to the ends trying to get, this is year. This is all this year, by the way. End of 23 and then paying for it throughout 24. Okay. So now I'm down to my last two. And it was swept into a lot of bad timing, if that makes any sense. And now I'm...
Oh, yeah. This was a tough year for real estate overall. I don't care what any guru's saying. It's the lowest amount of transactions that have happened nationwide since 1995. You can't tell me it's not a tough year in real estate.
I sold a house last week. Last week we sold one that when we were running our numbers and the day we started, we had about 525 as our projected ARV with a bunch of comps to support it, right? I said, you know what? We're going to beat the market. We're going to run it at 470. We're going to crush it because it'll sell fast. I already knew the market was kind of getting a little funny. Let's just beat the market, let's undercut it pretty good and get out of this thing and get out. We end up, Adam, I'm not making this up. Like I sat for 7 months with not one offer on it. What do you do? And I ended up dropping the price for it, and we finally sold it last week for $390.
I'm assuming you lost money on that one.
Oh, yeah. A lot. That one hurt. That was the biggest loss I've ever incurred.
What's crazy, man, is you're still in the game. You're still doing deals. What's working for you guys today in terms of acquiring deals? Like, is direct mail still working for you? Are you guys cold calling? What are you guys doing?
I paused the flipping side of it a few months ago, right? Because that writing was on the wall. Like I shouldn't have done what I did. I had to unwind what I did also, right? But in the meantime, the thing and this kind of really just drill back down to what got me here. What am I good at? What am I right? And so I started just really going deeper into what's working in today's market. How are sellers responding to what marketing channels? Because that's in real estate and wholesaling in general, it's a sales and marketing business more than it is a real estate business, right? So I have to figure out how to get people to talk to us or how I can talk to them, depending on your version of what you do for marketing. And the way I teach it, the way I do it, again, back to granular, pick one thing that you're really good at and and do it better than everybody else. Right now, I'm in love with pay-per-lead because pay-per-lead, they're raising their hand and they're hot now. I don't have to wait 3 weeks before they get mail and then decide to respond or and then, only for them to call you and tell you, I don't have to do my own campaigns because then that's brain damage that I don't need to deal with because I'm not a marketing expert. I don't know how to build my own campaigns. And so I would rather pay a little bit of money for these leads that are coming in with people raising their hand saying, I want to sell it right now myself. They're already telling you they want to do it. And then it's speed to that. Like how quickly so I and my students, this, that, and the other, when we're doing deals together, Adam, you get a lead that comes in. And if you don't respond within 2 minutes of that lead coming in, hell or high water, I will be on that phone and you don't want me to be on the phone because that means you're not doing your job. You got 2 minutes. Because I know from the time they hit enter on that, it's probably getting sold to somebody. Even though they say they're exclusive leads, they're gonna have competitor. And I want to be the only person they talk to. So that's what we're doing today. It's working really well. We're converting 1 in 6 to 1 in 7 leads as a contract right now, and that's been really good for us. Wow. And then really but I think it's because we're quick to take action, quick to talk to them, and now Adam calls after but I've already talked to him. Oh, I'm already working with somebody else. There's a lot of these people that are doing that. And we target the state of Florida wide, not just, Gainesville proper, so we're in the whole state right now.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, we did. We spent probably $1 million on pay per lead over the past couple of years, at least, if not more. So we did quite a few deals from pay per lead. It's a great source. It works. Actually all marketing channels work if you work.
That part.
So
you're 100%.
Focus. I think you're right, Brett. That's, being really focused, being extremely dialed in on sales, your process to get a hold of these people, and being relentless. You just got to be relentless. So no, I agree with you, man. It's like, pay per lead was an awesome source for us over the past 12 to 18 months. And I'll tell you, the marketing does ebb and flow. One of my mentors, I have the most consistent mentor in the industry. He's a OG guru back in the day. Doesn't really guru anymore, but his name's Andy. Guy's name's Andy. He's out of Utah. And he's been doing PPC direct mail for 15 years. He does that every month, spends, what he spends never changes. Like he might reallocate more to PPC or more to direct mail. He might add TV to complement it. But even this year I talked to him. He's like, I've been profitable every month. Even in this crappy year, like we've not taken a loss, not one single month. I'm like, dang, man, that's so awesome. Like consistency is such a big part of it too. Like even though marketing does change, like I see too many people ping pong. It's like, oh, this doesn't work for me. It works for Brett, but it doesn't work for me. It's like, no, it will work for you the same. You're not consistently doing the work over time.
Yeah. We tell people in our side of like Tom taught me this, and I now teach people this. When it comes to marketing, what's the one that works? The answer is real simple. It's the one you like. And the reason for that is because it's the one you're going to do every day. Like that's the answer. Because they all, like you said, they all work. I like pay per lead simply for the fact that I know I can turn it on and it works, and it's quick to work. I don't have to wait, and it's here now. And just that feeling of it working quickly almost tricks your mind to think it's more successful. Right? It's like, oh man, I got a lead today, So yeah, that's kind of.
And you're ready to go. You could turn it on. You don't have to think about it. Leads start dumping in.
And then with students, when they're new, what I figured out with students is they want results fast. Right? Like, cause a lot of time when you're first starting, you don't really know what to expect of how long a sales cycle takes. You don't know that it's going to take maybe, 7, 8, 10, 12 touch points before they call you back. Especially if you're doing direct mail, right? You don't know that it's going to take that kind of time. The fact that we can get somebody in front of students like now, like you signed up today, you can have a lead today, theoretically, that right there keeps people engaged a lot at a higher level. And I think that's some of the competing with like, we all have our different programs that we teach and do and stuff like that. And everybody's works, right? Same thing like marketing. But people have this mindset of like, I want to get there. They think they're going to get there faster because they're like seeing all like, hey, you might have a testimonial page a mile long of all these results. So I'm definitely going to get it too, And so like for me, when I'm teaching people, I'm like, I got to get something in front of you now so that we can get that small win out of the way to keep you engaged and keep going. Right. So that's another reason why we do the pay per lead is because it's a little faster to get in front of somebody.
That's fantastic. Cause then it helps them to make it real tangible, more real. What do you do with the, cause pay per lead's not cheap. How do you get, do they come in and they have to have some budget, or how's that work?
I tell people hey, in the beginning, if you're spending more than $1,000 inside of a month in your marketing, you're spending too much money, because at the end of the day, you don't know what you're doing. Why would you be throwing your money away at marketing if you don't know how to convert the sale? That's silly to me, right? So what we do is we've kind of gamed, it sounds a little bit bad, we kind of gamed the system just a little bit, because you can tweak inside of the platform we like to use. You can game it to only give you a certain amount of dollar amount, and then you can actually lower, because if we target.
Is that on iSpeed to lead? What is that?
We use a lot of property leads. Is who we use. They're a part of family with us too. Yeah. So you can kind of game that system up behind the scenes a little bit. And I kind of tweaked it and figured out how to do it. So if we're in, like for this podcast, it's state of Florida, you can pick the entire state as your thing, which lowers your cost per lead. And then we can even bid on it. They recommend a certain dollar amount. You can actually drop it down. And what we've learned, and I've spent some time talking with the guys there, they have their algorithms built out inside of Property Leads, and iSpeed probably has a similar situation, and Leadzolo and all the other companies, right? But on this one, if you have a budget, let's say your budget is let's say you're spending $10,000 a month in pay per lead. Okay. Once your budget exhausts, it goes around let's say you want to bid $500 per lead and you're targeted just to whatever market you're in specifically, and it's $10,000. Well, you're going to blow through that real fast. But now that just goes down to the next person, and they round robin it all the way down. Guess what I've found is people still need to sell their house in weeks 2, 3, and 4 of the month. They don't have, it's not just in the beginning of the month. And so they blow the algorithm. It's like Google pay-per-click. It wants to spend your money. So as long as that budget's in there, guess what happens? People get wiped out on their budget, and now you have a whole month of leads still available that people are getting. So guess who's buying them for $100 a lead, $75 a lead? We are.
Yeah, so that's great.
I can spend $500, $700 and have a deal. And cost per deal right now, for most people, are spending $2,000 and $3,000 for these costs. That's kind of the numbers I'm seeing nationally. It's $2,000, $3,000 cost per deal.
We'll spend $5,000 to get a deal.
It's expensive, but you're gonna get the return on it. That's why you do it. But people in the beginning don't understand that, especially, right? And so they're going, oh my God, I spent $100 and that lead never answered. Oh my God, that I called them, but they want too much money, and they don't get it, right? So that's why I'm like, listen, you got to stick with it. You got to do this with me. And then a lot of times, especially with the newer folks, we give them a couple of courtesies I'm going to jump on the leads with you so that I can hold your hand and do those deals too, so that we get them faster.
Tell me about your coaching program. So you're helping new investors that want to get into wholesaling. They want to make these checks in 8 days like you did. What's your program look like for those folks if they want to get in it?
So I really kicked it back off again about 6 months ago, right? And I said, how am I going to do this the right? I've always had I run a local RIA here. We have several hundred people a part of that, this, that, and the other, and I've been doing stuff with that, but putting legs to something that's working. So I grabbed 10, 12 people, mentored them, let's make sure this thing works. You know what I mean? Let's make sure that I know all the nuance on it. And that's what we built out it's called Wholesale Prodigy. Basically, I just want people to be able to get in and get results quick. Now, new experience, I don't really care who's in. Tends to gravitate towards people that are just getting started. But the program is really simple. You come in, I'm going to mentor you one-on-one, and then we have some group calls in the middle of that too throughout the week. A lot of times people don't know how to talk to their leads because they've never had sales training. They've never had, they don't know what they're doing. And either myself or one of our high-level students, I'll be on the phone with them and their lead at the same time doing a 3-way call with that actual lead and closing the deal with them. So it's an actual physical hands-on program versus here, watch these modules and hope that you can figure it out. So that's what we're doing is I've raised up a couple of coaches inside of that with me so that I'm not the only one. I can't be on every phone call every day with every lead. There's just no way. So we've raised it up so that, hey, these students are actually able to talk to people with a coach that actually gets them to the next step, versus, hey, watch 3 videos and here, try my script and hopefully it works for you too.
I think that's great, man, because people want that safety net. They want to know that you'll get on or somebody will get on.
With experience, maybe I'm doing 1 in 6, 1 in 7 leads to a contract, whereas maybe the new person is 1 in 15, 1 in 20, right? So it just speeds up that process a little faster, get some results faster. Because at the end of the day, it's like I have my son, the 2-year-old in that story we were talking about, he's 11, about to be 11 now. And I tell him what I tell my students. Results matter. Results matter. At the end of the day, I don't care what you say. It's what you do at the end of the day. The result of the action, the result, the action, the result. That's what matters. So if you just give somebody a program and say, good luck, and they don't get results, I feel kind of guilty about that. Even though that's how I learned and I did well with it, not everybody's wired that way.
Oh, for sure, man. Well, that's incredible. How can people find out more about that program?
I have a free Facebook group. Go to Wholesaling Prodigy, type it in the group. It's just a couple of simple questions. I'm going to ask for your email, okay? I want it. I'll be honest with you. I want your email. I'm not going to spam you or send you anything, but I'm going to be able to reach out to you that way. Or if you want, I have my office number here we can give out if people want to call at any point too, and schedule a conversation with me at that point. And I never memorized this number, so please forgive me. I will give you that number in 2 seconds. I want to give that number out for anybody that if they hear and they want to reach out, feel free to call me on this number anytime. It's 352-354-7673. And that number comes directly to me. It's not going to go to anybody else. You're not going to get a random person, over in, the Philippines taking your call. You're going to come to me and we can talk and see if
you're going to get a call center and they're going to be like,
Exactly.
Yeah, I love it, Brett, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you spending time with me and answering the questions, giving people the goods, like what marketing's working. For us, I'll tell you, you will not believe this. You'll say there's no way. We did over $1 million in revenue with need to sell my house fast.
Bro, do it. I've done deals with them.
I know, but people always say, like, especially experienced investors, like, these leads are terrible. They're garbage. I'm like, yeah, they suck because you suck.
Is it the leads that are terrible, or is it your sales process that is terrible?
Yeah, man, it's sales, dude. It's sales. That's how aggressive you're willing to be. I totally agree. But yeah, we did deals with property leads too. Love those guys. And I appreciate you just kind of sharing the ground truth. And, the business is simple. It's not easy. It's simple. If you're willing to do the work, it can be a big time amplifier to your money and to your life. So really cool what you're doing to help the new folks out and other investors, man. And if you guys want to check them out, it's Wholesale Prodigy, right?
That's correct. Yep. Wholesaling Prodigy. That's right.
Facebook group.
Yep. Simple, easy. Get in there. I just did a live right before we got on this call today. I literally was just live in there again. Even just following in the group, you'll have enough to learn to get you started.
It's awesome, man. Thanks for coming on, brother. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.